Hello guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Unique Items. Today we're going to be taking a look at a quest item for single player. I do not believe this one is available in multiplayer, unless you're playing like Devolution X or something, which does give you access to some of the single player quests in multiplayer. But for the most part, if you are online, I do not believe you get access to this item. This item is a quest item that Griswold will eventually talk to you about when you reach level 10 of the catacombs, essentially, of the underneath the church. And once you bring the Anvil of Fury, which is just simply sitting on the ground in level 10, you go and find it. It's guarded by some goatmen and some archers, and it's not really that big of a deal. In fact, I think I could probably load the anvil in so you guys can see the anvil. Hold on. Yes, there we go. So there is the Anvil of Fury. The Anvil of Fury is found on level 10, and once you obtain the Anvil of Fury, you basically just bring it back to Griswold. Griswold has a quest line involved in this particular anvil, and he usually tells you about the anvil once you reach level 10, and then once you come back, you give it to him, and he will... Wow, it is much bigger than I expected. That's what she said. Why is that? Good lord, that literally is a whole anvil too, isn't it? It looks like a little tiny thing in my inventory, and then I drop it on the ground, and that thing just like whomp. That's pretty funny. It's got a nice sound effect on it too, doesn't it? It's got like some runes carved into the outside. So anyway, you give him the Anvil of Fury, and he will give you Griswold's Edge, which ironically, it says Griswold's Edge, even though it's not identified. It says that it is 4 to 12 damage, durability 50, and it is not identified with a 40 strength requirement. So we got to go over to Mr. Deckard Cain here and identify it, which he tells us it is Griswold's Edge, as if we didn't already know. And we get the total skinny on the item. Now, Griswold's Edge is actually one of the more powerful items in normal difficulty. It's not really a great sword for, like, Nightmare and Hell mode, but for normal difficulty, it's actually pretty beast. There are definitely better swords that you could get your hands on, that's for sure. But as a quest item that happens fairly early on in normal difficulty, like way before you get to Diablo at least, way before you get to Lazarus, it can come in handy. It has fire damage of 1 to 10, which is useful unless you're fighting monsters that are immune to fire. There are some that fire is ineffective on. It's kind of funny because Diablo 2 has immunities, and they added immunities in Diablo 2, I think, after Classic, right? But Diablo 1 always had immunities in it, as far as I'm aware. Like, there were monsters that just... They didn't give two craps about your lightning because they were lightning monsters, or they didn't give two craps about your fire because they were fire monsters. And like as a sorcerer, you always end up having to like alternate back and forth between different damage types. So like, yeah, there will be monsters that the fire damage is useless on. It does have a small chance to hit of 25% bonus, which is not amazing, but it's something. It does, however, have one of the most important modifiers, which is fast attack. So there are 3 different attacks in the game. There is fast attack, faster attack, and there is fastest attack. And basically what it does is it allows your character just to attack faster. And the faster attacking that it gives you is really, really important, because in this game, attacking faster means that you can put monsters into hit recovery faster. And that means that, well, generally you have the upper hand in pretty much any encounter, because you're going to be able to hit them more times than they hit you, and put them into faster hit recovery more times than they put you into faster hit recovery, which is a really good combination. It also has knocks back target on it, which is kind of annoying for melees. Any melee who's ever used the knockback weapon, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's not the most amazing thing in the game. Kind of poopy, especially if you're fighting range characters that you would rather not be knocked back, because as a melee, you're going to be chasing melee characters a lot, which is really rough. It does have plus 20 mana, which could be potentially useful for casting a couple heals, and it does have 20 negative hit points, which isn't really too bad for the warrior, because the warrior generally has a lot of hit points. But if you're a sorcerer or something, and you just happen to have a Griswold's Edge and you're running around swinging at things, sorcerers don't really have a lot of hit points to start out with, and negative 20 can be a lot of negative for a sorcerer. Overall, the damage isn't like too bad. It's 5 to 13 with a 100% chance to hit, which is not a 100% chance to hit, by the way, but it does offer a pretty significant chance to hit on most normal difficulty targets. I would, however, like to show you the difference in attack speed. So let's go down to one of these levels real quick, and I'm going to show you how the attack speed difference works for random club sitting there. How the attack speed difference works for like a slower weapon and a faster weapon, and why Griswold's Edge is just so much better in terms of its attack speed. So this is the Griswold's Edge. Let's use the regular weapon first. So this is the regular attack speed of a sword. And this is Griswold's Edge's attack speed. As you can see, even just fast attack speed allows the sword to attack a lot faster in general. And you get that nice little fire explosion, which is your 1 to 15 fire damage, by the way. So the 1 to 10, that 1 to 10 fire damage is actually visually represented by the little explosion. It's kind of cool. Overall, it actually is a decent weapon. It's not a bad weapon at all, and it's actually kind of sad that the Griswold's Edge in Diablo 2 ended up being so bad. I don't think hardly anybody ever uses Griswold's Edge in Diablo 2. It's one of like the worst uniques. I think maybe it has like limited usefulness on like a charge paladin early on. Maybe a whirlwind now, because whirlwind barb is like level 30, right? So by the time you get to 30, you probably have a better weapon than Griswold's Edge. Yeah. Overall, not the most amazing. However, due to the fact that this is only available in single player, you really can't take advantage of this online unless you have some sort of modification. And in general, like the knockback tends to be really nasty for melees later on when you're dealing with the range monsters. Although the knockback can be mildly useful when you're dealing with like really strong melee targets that you would rather them not like rip you to shreds, because it stops them from hitting you, because obviously if you knock them back, they can't really like, you know, do anything about it. Like they just get knocked away and then they have to run back over and then you knock them away again. So if you're fighting one-on-one with a really strong opponent, the knockback can actually be quite useful to help you stay alive. However, the fast attack speed on the weapon is kind of ruined by the knockback, because in general, if you're trying to hit a target in quick succession as fast as possible and you knock the target away, it's going to make it a lot harder for you to hit the target in quick succession, because, well, then you have to either chase the target down and to hit them again, or you have to let the target run back to you to let them hit you again. Now, sometimes you can avoid this just by simply having like a doorway, go to a choke point, pull the monsters into the choke point, and then you have like one monster in the doorway and another monster behind that monster, allowing you to kind of like stop that monster from getting knocked back. So in those situations, you can allow Griswold's Edge to perform at its full power if you can force an enemy into a position where they cannot be knocked back, and basically choke point them into that zone. Overall, Griswold's Edge is a mediocre item, though, because it generally just doesn't have much usefulness outside normal difficulty. The 2-hit percentage, again, is still not the most amazing. So as you approach monsters and have much higher and higher armor values, it becomes harder and harder for you to hit anything with this weapon, unfortunately. And the fire damage, while it seems nice, it doesn't really give you a huge benefit versus a lot of monsters, because there's a lot of monsters that have high fire resistance the lower you go. Well, because, you know, they're hellspawn after all, and they tend to have really high fire risk. I think that's pretty much everything for Griswold's Edge. Yeah. As always, I do appreciate you guys and gals joining. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe button if you enjoy the content. And you know what? One last thing. And I know I said everything, but how much is it? How much does it sell for?
What can I do for you?
10,500 gold. Yeah, nice 10k gold. That's pretty good. Yeah, not bad. 10k gold. Anyway, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe button if you enjoy the content. And as always, keep watching.